I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Welcome back to Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, the Double T 97.3 mobile app, which is brought to you by our friends at Happy State Bank. Keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Clint, Gus, and Kyler just rounding out our conversation from that last segment. Yeah, the Kansas State offense, I do think, Gus, first, they've gotten a little bit better. I think the thing that they have progressed the most at from the start of the season to this point is they've figured out they've got to find a way to get Jace Brown involved in some big plays. And he's had touchdowns of 30-plus, 40-plus, and 270-plus, one receiving and one rushing. But especially without Dylan Edwards, who will be out again this game, which means it'll be Joe Jackson at running back. But the weird thing about it is Avery Johnson just has, I wouldn't say he has been explosive. And what maybe could add some nerves is that you know that he has that potential. And whether that's from being held back from his own offensive coordinator, offensive scheme. I mean, they've said several times they're not going to run him a lot, and he has not ran it a lot this year. And that's 100% in his skill set. And even like as far as scrambling goes, he hasn't really done that either. I mean, he's kept plays alive and kept his eyes downfield. He hasn't been overly efficient or anything like that, but he's been more efficient. His completion percentage is way better. But as a whole, for this Kansas State offense, the somewhat good defenses they've played against, they have absolutely struggled with. And the one that, again, just from a statistical standpoint that they faced that is a top 30 defense was UCF, and they won that game in a way that they've started to win games in the Big 12, and that's by leaning on their defense and turning people over. So as far as like their offense goes, we'll get to their defense in a second. As far as their offense goes, I'm going to lean on your defense and trust your defense 10 out of 10 times.
To keep it a low-scoring game on their side.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't give them short fields.
Like I'm very confident in your defense going to Manhattan.
Well, it's funny because there's two sides of narrative around this. And this is just observation, and just so I'm clear that I sound like I'm above it all. On Saturday, I'll be an antsy, nervous wreck.
Sure.
Heart rate 172 for most of the game. Just the basic, that kind of stuff. But it's been fascinating around this game as we looked at it back in August. I mean, everyone had respect for K-State, and I mean everyone, not just the Texas Tech people here, but how there was so much sort of smugness just in our group, the Royal We Texas Tech, like, Matt Wells is calling the plays, but what are we worried about? Like there was all of that going on, which was great 3 months ago or 2 months ago. Now that we're here on game week, that's just been a little afterthought, and it's been like how dangerous this team is and how tough this environment's going to be and all that. Like, wait a minute. I thought because Matt Wells was involved, this was going to be a cakewalk 2 months ago. But, as we get closer to it, there's –
I thought this was clear difficult game number 3
I know.
on the schedule.
I know.
But, yes, the Matt
but all
Wells
summer
joke
there was smugness about Matt Wells. And, again, this is not a you and me and Kyler conversation, but just in the – in the ether out here. It's fine. I just feel like the game itself is if we don't hand a bunch of stuff over to them, I'm not saying it'll be an easy game. I would think it would be a hard-fought game, but hopefully it's a game that we can just outplay these dudes. For the rest of this season, there will be concern over, Behren Morton being one hit away, which is really unfortunate for him. And I was even thinking about that with the Shuck conversations earlier today because I was reading thing talking about him starting the game and like his injuries here, and it was like 2 broken collarbones and a broken fibula, but we all, that guy's brittle. Like, damn, those are broken bones, man. It's not like he stepped out of here because he had a pinky strain or something. Like these are broken bones. And then Behrens dealt with all this wonky stuff too, and so the brittle thing has surrounded him. But knowing that Hammond isn't around as an insurance policy, we'll hold our breath, hopefully, for 9 more games. Is that right? And 8, 9?
If you're making that championship
run, and then the 3, probably we're not going to get a bye. Yeah, whatever that number is, but you get what I'm saying. This can't be a game that we have to go be explosive, and we have to do. I think if we just go play, take care of the ball, don't have a million turnovers and penalties and crazy special team stuff that we're dropping punts and giving them short fields or just whatever. If the game's played straight up, I think we can go up there and handle it. Now, been a season ticket holder, sat in that stadium since 1979. I've seen every combination that you can think of in terms of games like this that we've gone up there and destroyed somebody, and games that we've gone places and gotten destroyed in every way possible. But this is there's so much of what I think is lingering in the air around here. We haven't beat these in 2008. Like I get it, but
I think something else is you look and you see, okay, well, boy, the start of the year, right? They're getting it handed to them. Like they can't do anything on either side of the ball. It's ugly. Yeah. They stink, and then they have two back-to-back games where they score 40+ points.
They're back.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, of course, they're figuring it out now that you're here. Well, they're winning games because the other team keeps handing them the ball. Just don't give them freebies.
Right. And you know what? They've earned that. They've earned the turnover creation.
Yes.
In the same way that we have earned the turnover creation. And, we caused, 3 fumbles in Tempe? 4 times the ball was on the ground? 3 maybe defensively.
3.
I guess the other time we put it on the ground, they recovered it. So that may be what I'm thinking
3
of.
forced fumbles and 2
and no recoveries
and 1 gimme interception. You hit a face mask and another one that could have been in that corner.
So we've been there. We've been right where we need to be to create those things and be on the good side of it. You just look at the turnover deal in Tempe and go, oh, that's why you can't be. And it's like, man, you can only punch the ball out. It can only bounce that way instead of this way, that way to their guy instead of this way to our guy. But that's just football. That's why you want to punch out as many as you can, because eventually you're going to get yours.
What I like about your defense, though, is you have been like the measuring stick for anybody that's been feeling good about themselves lately. Like, hey, Devin Dampier, he hasn't turned the ball over a bunch. Oh, hey, Houston, they haven't turned the ball over a bunch. Kansas State, they haven't given up a bunch of sacks and they haven't turned the ball over.
They haven't played somebody
but they
like
haven't,
us yet.
Yes, and that's so we'll get into concerns a little bit later when you flip the side of the ball because there are plenty. But as far as their offense, I trust your defense.
Right. I'm with you.
It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hour number 2 of Tech Talk. Thanks for joining us here on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, which is brought to you by our friends at Happy State Bank. Keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get a thought from there in just a moment. You can also call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline. That number is 806-771-0973. Kyler is looking for Halloween costume ideas, so make sure to call that number and give him some suggestions. We're here in the First United Bank studio. Randy Rosetta will be here in the same studio at 6 o'clock after we're done. 100.7 The Score is the high school fan zone, featuring coaches from Lubbock High, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper. Of course, high school basketball just around the corner as well. I've gotten a couple of basketball episodes lately, so you're getting the old sports mashup around this time of year. So you never know who Randy's going to have on. Make sure to check out your favorite school in their time slots. Again, Lubbock High will be first tonight at 6, Friendship 6:30, and Lubbock Cooper at 7 o'clock. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. A thought just occurred to me. Pardon me if I'm just a slow learner, but do you think that with NIL paying the amounts that we have seen lately, that it could be an incentive for athletes to hang around and maybe not take the money some pro teams may offer? At the same time, it would seem to be better for the athletes to get more experience and become better players, and it could also force pro teams to up their offers to potential draftees. Hope all that made sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's JT Toppin. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you may be asking that as a football question, but I'm giving you a basketball example. And I think there's been a couple of baseball examples of guys that have hung around for a senior year and turned down probably what would have been the $125,000, whatever it is, $150,000, between the 11th and 20th rounds. But you're asking a football question now. We've got a salary cap now. I know we're a little muddy on those details, but we can't. I don't think we can go do $30 million rosters anymore. But we'll find out. But I don't think there's any question about that, because there's some thought that you might be able to offset, a player that. I would say this. I think Rodriguez was a similar example. He was going to be in camp with somebody, might have made an NFL roster, but he wasn't going to be the pick he's going to be this year, I don't think, this coming off season. He's probably elevated his stature in many, many respects. And, I think we came in early and headed off, hey, you still get the the NFL a year from now. That hang around. I think 2 years ago, that was the Taj Brooks conversation.
I think my favorite part of the NIL era is this, specifically with college basketball. Like, yes, like what you're saying, 100% can play a factor with football, but the biggest thing it has affected and will affect forever, as long as it's going, is college basketball. And I think of like an Oscar Tshiebwe type at Kentucky, when he was coming off of, a National Player of the Year, then stuck around after that. Now, you could say, well, his game wasn't going to translate to the NBA anyways, but that doesn't mean that the NBA wasn't looking at him, nor was he, if it were 5 years ago, if he would have stuck around, because there still would have been some sort of money offer. And so, like, you have a better chance of keeping some of the best players in the sport to hang around a lot longer. Now, the difference is we see a lot more shuffling of the deck from team to team, right? Because then you have to put in the transfer portal as well. But as far as like keeping some of the best players in the sport, you have a way better chance to do that, and you have been doing that since NIL has taken off. So that's been as a fan, one of the benefits, because there's benefits, and then there's things that have kind of soured college sports fans with NIL. It's just how it's worked, right? Because at the end of the day, the NIL really isn't affecting the fan because they're not getting any of it, right? And so if you're looking at some of the things that maybe have made college athletics lost its luster, and then what are some of the good things, to me, that is clearly one of the positives.
Yep. Agree.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, Shelly said, update because this is important. Pulled pork, baked potato for the win. Nice.
Oh, that's solid. Yeah.
Love a good baked potato. How about this from Mr. B? This is right up your alley.
Okay.
In fact, I can't believe you missed this.
Okay.
On this day in 1976, the Jackson 5 released their final album on Motown called Joyful Jukebox Music.
You know what I think would have been on that album? Dancing Machine?
I'm not going to be any help here. I'm sorry. What's new, right? All right, you figure that out. I'll get another question here. Let's get another celebratory...
I'm wrong on the album. Go ahead.
Okay, Shelly said, let's get another celebratory karaoke song ready. Flirting with disaster seems like an omen for the game, you know?
Yeah, for them, for the other team.
Yeah. Well, so we went over...
Who are we playing? They're the ones flirting with disaster.
Mm-hmm. Does it still feel weird, though, to go into Manhattan as a touchdown favorite?
Yes. Yes. And again...
It is odd.
And again,
it's odd.
That's... Yeah, and that's not an invincible point spread. That's not the world saying you guys are going to go in there and destroy them. But it's also like we, as the royal we here, all of us around this situation. Hopefully, it hadn't leaked onto the team bus and the team plane and the team hotel. But all of us around this situation are just tight as a drum. How's that? Mm-hmm. Puckered. Because we've seen us go up there going, surely we can beat these dudes, right? Oh, hey, look, they just tipped the punt. Oh, hey, look, we just committed a holding penalty.
You can talk all day long about how the history shouldn't, especially the recent history and the 8-game streak and the haven't won in Manhattan since 2008, that shouldn't and won't affect a David Bailey type or Romello Height or Howard Sampson or even some of the guys that are on the team like Coach McGuire talked about that have never even played in a game against Kansas State like a Jacob Rodriguez type because they were out. But you can't convince some of the fans who have been haunted by this awful purple team, and I get it.
And
so
I think
I understand.
Part of it, too, is wanting to make sure the flip side of that is wanting to find the correct balance for the Howard Sampsons and people like that to know, hey, this is serious business.
Yeah.
Right? Don't take this situation lightly because you need to expect a challenge.
And I don't.
Dudes are going to be ready to go.
I don't want them to be in the locker room like, guys, we haven't done this since 2008. Come on. There's a lot of pressure on this game.
That's what I'm saying. There's a fine balance of make sure you respect it, but don't fear it. It's that thing.
Play of the day when we come back on Double T 97.3.
Podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It's Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3. Thank you for joining us. Happy Wednesday to you, Clint, Gus, and Kyler. We will return to some thoughts and comments, plus an interesting athletic director story amidst all of the open jobs in college football we'll get to. But first, DJ Puddin has a play of the day.
Jackson now on first down. Hands it off to Vailahi. He gets hit, and the ball is stripped away. And he's coming back the direction.
Look who it is.
To the south end zone. It's going to be a touchdown, Red Raiders, for Jacob Rodriguez.
That is what I think every time I see this man on the field. He is making plays everywhere. He is having an insane season this year. On this season, he has 69 total tackles, a sack, 5 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown.
You know what's crazy with him? Because his numbers are just as good as they were last year, and the turnovers are somehow even better. We haven't talked about him that, we talk about the quarterbacks or receivers or maybe a running back when they've played several half games because the starters have been taken out. Jacob Rodriguez is one of the leaders in that conversation because his stats are still crazy good.
He is an elite
and
player.
He hasn't even played just a ton of full games, right? Hadn't needed to.
I also love that they cut to his wife as often as they do, and then they talk about the helicopter and how awesome she is and how tough she is.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I enjoyed that is legitness. What is that, a video? Was that a decade ago? How long ago was that video?
It was back when Vine was a thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Shout out to Vine.
So we can't attribute it to anything. It's just a general funny thing on the... Okay.
It's a meme.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's when our 6-second attention span started.
So a meme it has the audio and all that, right? It can be like this kind of...
No.
Well...
No. I thought we just did this the other day.
I know, but I'm still not clear.
A meme is a picture. A meme is generally a picture that, like, the guy, like, standing up in some sort of old court case, and you're, like, using it for an opinion that everyone hates. Or one of my favorite memes right now is another hypothetical win for the SEC, and it's SpongeBob throwing an alley-oop to Patrick Starr.
There we go.
That's a meme.
Got it. And then an animated GIF is just like a little clip of like a video.
Yeah, GIF is a
graphic interface
soundless
format. How bad is it that I know that, and then I'm still needing to explain it to me?
I couldn't have told you what GIF stands for.
I think I remember it when it came out in 1847, but
we're in GIF Groundhog Day right now. I swear.
No, we're in meme Groundhog Day.
Oh, okay. So Ross Dellinger, I want to get your thoughts on this story, Gus, because it seems to me, the way that I'm reading it, it's like, well, not only is LSU going to be looking for a new football coach like they already are, it sounds like they're going to be looking for a new athletic director. I don't know if you know this, but Governor Jeff Landry has been all up in LSU's business with this entire process. Today in a press conference, he called Brian Kelly's contract terrible and announced that athletic director Scott Woodward would not hire the next coach, and says he'd rather have Donald Trump be in charge of the search than Woodward. He also said, my role is about the fiscal effort of firing a coach under a terrible contract. I care about what the taxpayers are on the hook on, and I was not happy about raising ticket prices while we were having a losing season and we were paying a coach $100 million and not getting results.
All of that, to me, is political blather. And what I mean by that is that's who'd you say, Governor?
Jeff Landry.
Yeah. Governor Landry's running over there and kicking the corpse and doing the deal, like putting on a show because he knows this is what the people want to hear, right?
Yes.
I'm here to protect the taxpayer. There's no tax dollars going to the salary of the football coach, okay? But still, we all you love every word of that, right? Mm-hmm. Love every word of it. He didn't say one thing that's wrong. But it's also like this.
And the underlying thing is, yes, agree. But the underlying thing is, he's not just saying that. Scott Woodward, according to sources, is just and he was with the Jimbo hire, so I get it. They have been awful, but I'm walking away like, all right, so who is LSU's new athletic director?
That's exactly it.
I mean, like, that's kind of a key thing for the athletic director job. In fact, that's one of the main things right there. So, oh man. And LSU is, to me, the most, not only the best open job, it's the most interesting job. But is there a chance if it gets ugly or, if it's a huge mess, I mean, if they mess up the hire, that LSU gets in an even worse spot than they were with Brian Kelly? And I don't blame them for getting rid of Kelly, don't get me wrong. But, boy, the first foot forward in the hiring cycle before the season has even been done, it's just been an absolute circus. And I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I am in the crowd eating my popcorn, wondering, when's the trained bear coming out next? Are they going to do is there water in the bucket? Nope, it's confetti. I don't care. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm with you. That'll be... I mean, there's money flying all over the place. And again, I think we talked about this yesterday, the idea of it kind of flies in the face of the stuff about, we're trying to save women's sports and Olympic sports and all the things like Cody's doing from that angle. And I defend it. Got the SCORE Act over here trying to work its way through Congress. Everybody's trying to salary cap college athletes and blah, blah, blah. And then we're throwing, where are we at now on the buyouts? A couple $100 million?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think you just solved it right there. Idiot football coach contract. Probably throw in some basketball coach contracts, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
On one hand, you're like, oh, the system, these athletes are getting too much money. Oh, this is out of control. Oh, hey, here, Jimbo, here's your $70 million. What?
Yeah.
To not coach.
Here's your $800,000 a month.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Kelly's thing that came out the other day, and we've thrown those numbers around, but the other day on Sunday after the firing, somebody wrote it out as like, for 7 years, he's going to get, I don't remember what the exact, $770,000 a month for 7 years. You hear that and you go, God dang, man, a lot of money. Now, if he
I would have
gets-
been fired for way less a month.
I would have done it for $600,000 a month. No, I mean, but you get
Dear
it.
Penn State,
I mean, it's
I
just
see
the-
you're looking for a football coach. Can I interest you in someone who's led Old Dominion to an NCAA 25 Dynasty championship?
You can, yeah, that's right. I run that little zone thing. You got to defend the whole field when I'm calling plays.
We will only be running RPO 2
Every
yards.
play. Yes.
There will not be a downfield pass
Nobody can
past
figure
5
out
yards.
how to defend me with the skill of Old Dominion.
We will run a fake punt every 4th down. You're going to love it.
Yeah,
And I'm going to love being fired. And like I said, I'll go. My buyout can be $100,000 a month.
I just, when we talk about
her there.
something's wrong with the system, and then what we want to address is the players making too much money, and what?
Yeah.
I defend everybody's right to get all they can get, right? But I'm just thinking, wait, we're only going to go in and regulate that side of it?
Yeah.
Why is that going to work any better than if we came out and said, you know what, new rule, football coaches can't make more than $5 million a year? They would get their butts kicked in a lawsuit. Why are they going to win this system?
No doubt.
I think the whole thing's going to be continuing down the path that we're on, which is like, hey, spend all the money you want to.
Spend all the money. I have a coach quote, speaking of which, from the Big 12 on the other side. But he kind of teases firing cycles from a Big 12 school. We'll get to that next. It's Tech Talk and Double T 97.3.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Come sail away with us here on Tech Talk. You got us on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. Clint, Gus, and Kyler keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll go back to there in just a moment. So we were talking about coach job openings, and right now current Louisiana governor saying no athletic director decision here. They'll be stepping in. And I think this is interesting because you are in just an insane coaching cycle already, and it's not even done because you're not even to the end of the season. You might have more mid-season firings. There's some that think, if Dave Aranda, if he loses to UCF, he could be done, and he might be done if they go 5-7 anyway. So who knows what that situation is going to be like. But for Arizona State, I thought Kenny Dillingham had a very interesting quote, and it wasn't per se what he was asked about, but it was his answer. So sometimes a coach is just trying to find ways to fit in something that's on his mind into the sport, right? So specifically, he was asked about how the outside narrative has changed around Arizona State. Of course, Big 12 champion. No, it's not audio for you. I just scared the crap out of Kyler. No, I'm reading it, bro. I got it. Come on, Kyler. October 29th. He was asked about how the narrative has changed around Arizona State. Of course, Big 12 champion, playoff last year. Now that, Sam Leavitt, by the way, out again this week against Iowa State. It seems like if there was any hope, and it probably was this past weekend with losing to Houston, if there's any hope of them getting back to Arlington, that it just has been completely derailed. So I was like, well, boy, glad Tyson and Leavitt were good enough to go against you, huh? This was his answer, though. A year ago, we'd be juiced up, fired up, one game at a time. Now the noise is completely different. We're going to have highs and lows together. So over the next forever long time, we get to be here before we all get fired, which is inevitable. We can build the best program we can build here. He's not wrong.
No.
It's an interesting perspective. Rarely does the coach get hired, stay there for decades, and then retire with multiple championships, Nick Saban style, or, even Kyle Whittingham and Kirk Ferentz, right? Whittingham's going to retire. He's not going to be fired from Utah, but we all kind of thought Gundy would be Even though it got dicey the past 3 or 4 seasons, so I guess his isn't too crazy. But still, even Gundy, who was Mr. Oklahoma State, eventually winds up with the word fired, like on the headline.
Wasn't that the old adage? Every coach, you're hired to be fired someday, right? I mean, a few get to retire. Yeah. If you get to leave on their own terms.
Yeah, so obviously some will leave for different jobs and stuff like that, but for the most part. Yeah, that's kind of depressing when you think about it. I'm sure they don't view it as depressing when they're getting hired as a Division I football coach, but when it's put in that terms, it's like getting a child a puppy and like, just remember, this dog's probably going to die one day. Not probably, it's going to. And it's just like, well, okay, thanks for ruining that. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Clint, I'm going to need you to say all that again in a heavy Louisiana accent. In Nova Scotia, we're going to make no hire here for the LSU Tigers. Someone just tell Dickens it's GIF, not JIF. This on the Yates Flooring... I'll text him that. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I guess Gus isn't a doctor of memeology.
Yeah, I know, right? Not.
Is that offered? Can I teach it?
I don't know. Huh.
I feel bad for whoever has to fill J-Rod's spot next year.
Well, I think, that's like asking who's going to take Zach Thomas's place, right? You just like, how are you going to replace the names on the Ring of Honor? I mean, some of those guys are irreplaceable. You just got to, you got to try to improve marginally around that, right?
I think you could say the same thing about David Bailey.
Yes.
But Jacob Rodriguez, obviously, he's a one-on-one dude, and he's been here a while. And like you're saying, I mean, his name's probably going to be on the stadium one day. The way it's headed, I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah. I think, there's so much hanging here over the next 5 games or so, and it's the legacy of a few of those guys. If we finish up a winning team and this ends up being the best team in school history, which is within our grasp, then those guys getting that level of recognition, J-Rod most notably, not out of the question at all. How we think about Behren Morton's career probably hangs in the next 5-6 games.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably does.
And you know what? I think, so like this week, this is something that Rob and I talk about on Red Raider Recon. You can check out the latest episode on YouTube. This is a huge legacy building game for Behren Morton. And it doesn't need to be that he throws 5 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns, but to be the quarterback, like the first since Patrick Mahomes has beaten K-State. Graham Harrell has beaten Kansas State. Here's all of these other quarterbacks in this long tenure that haven't. Right. And so, again, it doesn't need to be, for his lore, I don't think it needs to be a 500-yard, 6-touchdown day or anything. If he wants to have that, don't get me wrong, that's awesome. But just to be the quarterback that leads you to a win there. And then that's just one step, right? Because you're going to have another opportunity to build some more lore against BYU. You're going to have some opportunity if you can make it to a Big 12 championship game. But I'm with you for like player story building, and it all has to equate in wins. That's what the ending result needs to be. You've got some opportunity for some of those guys who are on their last ride here.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been a lot of times in this stretch since 2018 that Kansas State's been the better team and deserved a win, but not every game, right? Mm-hmm. And just the thought of it can get big, and you hope those dudes are just focused on what's in front of them. Again, when you're in that fight, you don't really think about legacy and all that stuff. But I think about, like, J-Rod left the game a couple weeks ago, I think, missed a quarter or so. I was thinking, I don't want this to happen because I don't want his legacy to get messed up, because he's on a path to be up there in the Ring of Honor. But again, we need W's down the stretch. We need to be able to say that was one of the best teams ever at Texas Tech, because I think he'll also have a legit shot at Butkus Awards and Butkus Awards and all those kind of things.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. What's going on next?
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hour number 3 of Tech Talk. You got us on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Clint, Gus, and Kyler. We are here in the First United Bank studio at 6 o'clock. It's the High School Fan Zone with Randy Rosetta, 6:30. World Series Game 5. Pivotal, odd-numbered game. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I feel like such an idiot for not coaching a college team for free while these guys are getting millions to not coach.
Exactly.
I did want to go back. I thought, someone had said, I feel bad for whoever has to fill Jacob Rodriguez's spot next year. Mm-hmm. That is going, obviously, you've got a lot to get there.
John Curry.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Pretty good player, but
because you should have Dingle back.
Yeah.
So there's the option to put him back at the star and move John Curry back to that spot. Right. That'll be really and you didn't have to add a line of all the things you added in the portal. Right. You didn't have to mess with the linebackers at all. I mean, do you add an experienced player? I don't know what that's going to look like, but you got a lot of talent on the roster. But the sentiment's still the same, just because of everything that Jacob Rodriguez has meant to the defense, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I'm very interested to see. Like you said, it could very well just be move Curry, and I think he would do very well with that. It could be, who knows? Could be just a new face that we don't even know that's not on the roster right now.
Very true. They're also. I mean, the other assessment that's being made right now is what needs to happen in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, you and I are going to get. I'm going to get an answer to this, but exactly how this if there's unlimited money, then go out and find the best people you can get, pay them whatever. If we're constricted to this salary cap, whatever, going to have to be smart about this. Going to have to be some roster managers. Going to have to believe in, hey, you know what? That redshirt freshman over there's looked really good. I think he's ready to take the next step. Let's not spend that money there. Let's spend part of our valuable. It's the same assessment these NFL teams are making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you let that guy go because he's getting a little pricey because you feel like you've got the next guy in place that's going a little bit cheaper. And it's not an NFL thing. It's Texas Rangers conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Josh Young over there at third base playing for the major league minimum. That's a little more manageable when he's struggling than if you're paying that dude $20 million. Like, should we re-up him for huge money? Maybe we could get off in that tangent, but I just think that's a lot of what's going on, and that's why GMs are being hired all over the place,
which
around college football for decisions like this.
You were ahead of the curve with that, bringing a professional style setup to college sports, and now you are. That's part of why I also think you've been so successful with that, and with how you've recruited, and you've been successful now in the portal. Yes, you gotta have. Some funds to back it up, but you also have to have a good system, and you have one of the best GM to coach systems in the country, and I think it's showing. Now, hopefully that shows with the Big 12 title, but either way, you're still getting a lot of talent to come through that's already come through, and a lot more talent that's even better that's on its way. So, yeah, it is interesting though, just the whole dynamic of a GM and a head coach. And again, your head coach is great at recruiting and connections, and so it's not like they can't be a part of it just because you have a GM. Yeah. But you have different types of coaches, right? Like you have your X's and O's coach, you have your rev up coach, you have your CEO coach, and I feel like Joey McGuire, as good at connections as he is, he fits more into that like CEO role to me. And he's still coaching, right? He's still hands-on, but he has a staff and lets that staff do their job. He lets their coordinators coordinate. He lets their position coach. He lets his GM and his recruiters recruit. And he has his, he's invested and is a part of all of that. But, he also lets those guys do their job. Which is again, it's as long as you have success, it doesn't matter what type of coach you have.
It'll be fascinating going forward. and hopefully we're building on, I'll say it, the best season in school history, and on top of beautiful high-end facilities and excitement around the program and a coach who's in place and da-da-da-da-da.
This on the chat line, how much ink does Morton have left in the pen? Because we've got a long story still to write.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's got a lot of ink, and he's, between the time that he's missed, he's had obviously a really, really good and really effective year, and I think we've learned over the past couple of weeks just how important he is to the offense of making that thing go.
That dang thing was so fluky. And I get it. We look at it and we think, man, he's brittle, or however you want to say that. He's made of chicken bones, or just all this mess that we've heard. And then, on the other hand, Coach McGuire's talking about how he's one of the toughest kids he's ever coached. Like constantly working to get his body right and all that stuff. But like Cam Dickey misses a blitz in the biggest, easiest win of the season, and it nearly destroys his leg, I mean, it's Pine Bluff of all people, right?
Right.
Like of all the, that was the ultimate, and let's get out of here healthy. Oh, hey, there's a starting quarterback hobbling around. That set him up for the re-injury a couple weeks ago. And
then he's also said, he definitely could have gone against Oklahoma State, and probably could have gone against Arizona State if it was at a different point in the season.
Exactly. If that's
which doesn't, by the way, doesn't make me feel better about that game since you lost it. But
it just makes me nervous. That's all. I mean, it just makes me nervous. I have faith in the kid, and I have faith in his toughness. I just, if you tear a muscle or break a bone, you tear a muscle or break a bone. It's not about, well, how tough are you?
Right.
I don't know, man. So like I said, it's a fair question. How much pen is
how much ink does he have
left in the pen? I get it. I'm hopeful that we talk about him among the legends around here after what he does in the next 6, 7, 8, 9 games, whatever. We'll see. But that really truly does start here in 3 or 4 days. Big one.
Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.